For 2 years, Josh thought he'd found a life partner in his girlfriend, Amelia. They'd been together long enough to feel solid, and for the past year, they even shared his cozy home in the suburbs of Brighton. At 28, Josh was established in his career, with Amelia, a few years younger at 26, still studying full-time, trying to finish her degree. Since she wasn't yet working full-time, Josh had willingly taken on most of the financial load, covering the rent, utilities, and other bills without a second thought. He thought of them as a team and believed in supporting her ambitions. But things had begun to shift recently. Amelia started going out with friends more frequently, leaving him behind. When Josh expressed concern, hoping for reassurance or a bit more time together, Amelia bristled, brushing off his feelings and claiming she just needed her space. But the more distant she grew, the more unsettled he became. It wasn't like they were fighting, it was simply strange. Then one evening, while discussing relationships and loyalty in what he thought was a heart-to-heart, Amelia dropped a bombshell. She casually mentioned, "You know, Josh, you're pretty replaceable. There are plenty of guys who'd be more than willing to be with me." For a moment, he felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. What kind of person would say that? And why would she think it was okay to tell her boyfriend such a hurtful thing? Josh managed a slight laugh, trying to dismiss it as a strange joke, but her tone stayed firm. It didn't sound like a joke. It sounded like she meant every word. Later that night, he lay awake, replaying her words, wondering if he'd misinterpreted. Was he overthinking it? Or was this a serious warning sign? He didn't want to make a decision he'd regret, but he also couldn't see himself with someone who viewed him as so disposable. After seeking advice from friends, he decided it was time to confront her. He needed to know where they stood. When he sat Amelia down for an honest conversation, explaining how her comment had hurt him, he hoped she'd understand, maybe even apologize. But instead, her reaction shocked him. "Oh, Josh, you're being so dramatic," she snapped. "You're lucky I'm even here. Do you know how many better guys have been hitting on me? I'm settling for you because I love you, but if you want out, just say so." Her words stung like salt in a wound. In that moment, he knew there was no saving this. Staying calm, he looked her in the eye and said, "I think we're done here, Amelia. I need you to move out by the end of the week." Amelia didn't take it well. She erupted, throwing things, raising her voice, and accusing him of abandoning her in her time of need. But Josh held his ground. He reminded her that she had been living rent-free, that he had been the one supporting them, and that he had every right to end things if he didn't feel valued. Within days, she packed her bags, staying with a friend while she sorted her situation. After she left, Josh felt an unexpected sense of relief. Yet it didn't end there. Amelia began calling and texting incessantly, her messages swinging wildly from anger to desperation. First, she'd lash out, blaming him for everything. Then she'd apologize, pleading for a second chance. She said her comments were made out of stress, that she hadn't meant them, that she was struggling with school. But Josh wasn't convinced. It wasn't just one comment that had broken them. It was everything leading up to that moment. The distance, the defensiveness, and the hurtful words had all painted a clear picture. Then, a friend of hers reached out to him, revealing something that put everything in a much darker light. Amelia had been seeing another guy behind his back for several months. Josh was floored. The late nights out, the sudden need for space, the comment about being replaceable, it all made sense now. When her new boyfriend discovered she was living with Josh and using his support, he broke things off with her. She had lost everything in one fell swoop, and Josh realized that her pleas weren't about love. They were about convenience. When Josh confronted her with this revelation, Amelia tried to dodge it. But when he showed her the message from her friend, she finally admitted to the affair, justifying her actions by accusing him of being too busy and too distant. She tried to blame him, claiming she had felt unloved because he was constantly working to cover their bills. With that final confirmation, Josh closed the door on their relationship for good. He changed the locks, blocked her on all social media, and even informed mutual friends to keep Amelia away. It was hard, but he felt like he was finally free of the drama and manipulation. In the following weeks, he began to rebuild himself. He reconnected with friends, rediscovered old hobbies, and even started seeing a therapist to process what had happened and ensure he didn't end up in a similar situation again. Just as he was starting to feel whole again, he learned from a mutual friend that Amelia had been spreading a twisted version of the story, telling everyone he was a controlling, jealous partner. Josh was frustrated but decided not to react. Those who truly knew him knew the truth, and he wasn't about to waste any more energy on her lies. As Josh looked forward to the future, he knew one thing for sure. He was ready to find someone who truly valued him, who saw him as irreplaceable, not just a placeholder. The relief and peace he felt now was more valuable than he ever imagined. Thanks to those who helped him see the truth, he'd finally left the hurt behind and moved forward with confidence, stronger and more certain of his own worth than ever before.